Welcome back, explorers. I'm David, that's Wesley, and this is the Trailcast.
A weekly show that gets so far off track, you'll have to stick around to see just where we end up.
I've been living my life a quarter mile at a time. Nothing else matters.
Okay, so check it out. It's like this. Today, we're talking about the Fast and the Furious. Okay, David. Yes. We all know that was a cringy-esque, maybe more on my part, esque open. Okay?
Okay, but it's fitting because the Fast and the Furious is a cringy movie. It's a good movie, but
Yeah.
it's cringy.
So I want to make this comment to you, David. You're stupid. Okay, let me explain why you're stupid, because I have an explanation.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna leave it there. Okay, yeah.
Well, okay, I don't have to do anything to explain this anymore, but I do have an explanation, and it all has to do with this movie here. So when we talked about this, it might have been last time we talked about the Fast and the Furious, which because of the somewhat success of that video is why we're coming back and talking about the Fast and the Furious, the first movie, from 2001. But anyways, so you said that you didn't like it on your first watch. So you're stupid because this is an amazing movie. And yes, there are cringy aspects of it, but man, I forgot how good this movie is. Also, when we were talking about doing this for a podcast, you were like, I don't know. I don't think we can get enough from it for a podcast. And I was thinking like, nah, we'll find something to talk about. We can talk about behind the scenes stuff like that. Watch this movie, and now I'm like, no, there is so much to talk about with this. Like, this has probably one of, if not the best plots of the Fast and the Furious movies. Like, no wonder it's a franchise now. This movie was great. And I watched a breakdown, which I need to find the video because it said it was an article that was linked to it. But it was talking about just some of the stuff that's broke down in the movie and how, if you look at it, just like how masterful, like, the direction of the movie was. Because, like, as an audience member, someone watching the movie, you're on the same ride as Paul Walker, and you're deceived in the same way that he is throughout the movie, which we'll get into a little bit more. But I do want to hear your thoughts, your idiotic thoughts on this movie. A warning for anyone who is listening to this: everything that comes out of David's mouth is stupid. But I mean, that should probably be a warning in most of the episodes. But anyways, I'm gonna let him talk a little bit, so you don't have to let your ears bleed out your brain. I guess that's how it works. I don't know. David, what do you have to say?
No, actually, what I said in the original podcast was the first time I watched it, I didn't like it.
I know. I
This
just said
movie,
that. I said the
no,
first time. You're stupid. You're stupid for thinking that the first time.
no, rewatching it today, this movie, yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah. But you're stupid because you thought it was bad at one point in time.
Maybe so, but yeah, rewatching it, I think you're right. This might be one of if not the best fast movies, just because. I mean, honestly, once you get later on, it's just movies about. It's just action movies, just for the sake of action movies. But this one, actually does have a good plot.
Apparently, actually, this movie starting out was supposed to be a drama about street racing, and because of the action that got put into it, became an action movie. I don't know how true that is. I heard that at some point, somewhere, from something. No source for it. I just heard it. Maybe I made it up. Who knows? But anyways, I will say that I have seen that most people, or a lot of people, have said something about Fast Five being their favorite or the best. I haven't watched it in a while, so I don't really remember. I mean, I know that Fast Four and Fast Five are probably two of my, like, thinking about it, I think those are two of my more favorite ones if I'm thinking of the right ones. But this is an amazing movie. The plot. Okay, so for those of you who have not seen the Fast and the Furious movies or have not seen the Fast and the Furious movie in a while, first off, go check out our YouTube channel. Not down the rabbit trail. You can check that out too if you want. It's just whatever. But the Trailcast, which you might be watching on this. But anyways, we have a video breaking down basically the beats of the movie, and then come back and finish this up. But anyways, for those of you who do not care to do that, the movie basically follows the not the life, but the character of Brian. What's his name? Sprinter. What do they call him for a while?
I think it's Sprinter, yeah, but Brian O'Connor.
And Brian O'Connor. I never noticed that he had a different name as the other. Which, first off, you go undercover and you keep your first name. That's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I know his middle name is like Earl or something like that.
We really have.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, we got our opening thoughts about the movie out of the way, but we really haven't introduced the podcast yet. So,
that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because so I guess we can leave that in there. But before we get too carried away talking about Fast and Furious, we've actually got 2 new segments today.
Do you want to do that now, or do you want to do that after we talk about Fast and the Furious?
Well, it sounds like you want to go ahead and talk about Fast and the Furious, but I was thinking we could do, or we were going to do one of them first. But
I thought that was probably how it was going to go first too, but then I just dived into my thoughts.
yes, you did. But our 2 new segments are, we're starting off with Trailcast News. So Wesley and I both selected some articles, some news stories that we want to talk about, and then, of course, we're going to dive into the main body of our podcast, which is Fast and Furious. You've already got a taste of that. And then we've got Trailcast Trivia, and then we've got a 4th segment that we don't even really have a name for. But I know we talked about this in a couple weeks ago after our ranking of the MCU. But Sarah, Wesley's wife, strongly disagrees with our ranking. And so she has got her own ranking that she will come and present to us later on in the podcast.
We should probably call it "You're Stupid" or "Get Roasted" or "What an Idiot" or
actually,
I don't know. I thought it was.
Didn't you say original, or when we talked about it a few weeks ago? Didn't you suggest the name "What's Wrong with You"?
Yeah, that's right. That's what we're gonna call it. What's wrong with you? Yes.
Okay. Sure.
So David, I do think it's a better idea if we jump into the news aspect of it, which is probably what we should have jumped into to begin with. But since we already kind of dived into a little bit of the Fast and the Furious, let me go ahead and finish explaining just a brief. There was a bug that just jumped on me, and I was not really expecting that. Let me go ahead and basically just finish up summing up the basic premise of the Fast and the Furious, and then we can go from there. So, anyways, this undercover cop, Brian O'Connor, goes into the street racing gangs and gets close with basically the king of the street racers, Dom Toretto, and his family and his crew. And he gets real close to them. And the reason he goes undercover is because there's been these hijackings on these trucks. And so he's trying to find out who's doing it. So he breaks into one gang, finds out it's not them, breaks into another one, thinks it's them. They raid the house, find out that actually those items had been purchased legally for some reason. And then he has to come to the conclusion that it's the team he's with. But he's grown close to them. He's dating he's dating Mia, Dom's sister. And it's hard for him to believe that these people are bad after seeing how good they are. So anyways, at the end of the movie, the heist that they do at the end of the movie goes wrong. Ryan comes in, he helps them, and then he reveals that he's a cop. Obviously, they feel betrayed. Dom looks like he's about to run. Ryan goes to stop him. One of the crew members gets shot and killed. They chase after them, take care of the 2 that killed one of their crew. And then Dom and Brian have one last race, which then afterwards, Dom gets hit by a truck, car gets flipped, but then Brian lets him run off with his car, signifying that, he's one of them, essentially. starting Brian not down the path basically that he goes down for the rest of the movie. But if you're interested in us talking even more about this topic, and obviously I have some opinions about this movie and some thoughts about it. David probably does too, if you can believe that David has thoughts. But if you want to keep listening to this, stay tuned. But for now, we're going to jump right into Trailcast News, where we have a couple little thoughts and things about the what's happened in the past week or weeks. So, David, take it away. I'm gonna let you go first.
Well, so I actually did pull two stories last week for Trailcast News because we talked about starting it last week, but someone didn't do any research.
I don't remember that. David, why did you forget to do the research for that last week? And we talked about it. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember talking about that. I don't remember that even being a conversation.
But
so
so I'm just gonna go ahead and bring up those two stories that I had found last week. Not really stories, but so
no, David, this is news. You're not supposed to make something up for it. No wonder you came up with something last week.
Invincible season 2 just started streaming on Prime. Actually, started streaming. The first 2 episodes are out now, as of this episode going up. Which I have actually not started watching it because I have like 2 episodes left in season 1 because I'm rewatching season 1.
Wait, what was this?
Invincible season 2.
You cut out first. Okay, I figured that's what it was, but I wasn't entirely sure. You haven't finished Invincible, and you're getting on me about finishing it? Oh, David, you suck.
Well, no, this is my third time watching it, so
you still suck.
Yeah, and the other thing I had found last week was Amazon Prime announced the release date for their Fallout TV show, which I think we did mention last week in What's New with You, but it was April 12th, 2024. So
is that it? That's all you got?
Well, I do have one more story, but I'll let you go ahead and tell yours.
Well, no. I'll talk for longer. What do you have?
Okay, so there's one thing. So there's this song that has gotten to the it's right now it's the top country song in the nation. It's not a country song though, or at least I don't consider it a country song. So, have you ever heard of Dax?
I have.
So he's got a song called "To Be a Man."
Oh yes, I know what that song is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good song. But he just recently released a version of it that has Darius Rucker on it. And that's even better than the original song. But
there's a 10-minute version of that. There's like a bunch of different artists that come on and sing a verse. It's not bad. Some of the artists I don't care for their like style. It's not bad.
But the Darius Rucker version is really good. But okay, since you've heard the song, do you consider that country?
I don't know what I consider it because
okay, so Dax, for anyone who hasn't heard of Dax is a rapper. This song is not rap though. It's I think I think it's close to hip hop. I wouldn't even consider it hip hop.
It's got a beat, but it's not like it I'm trying to think. It's not okay. So I guess you could say like hip hop esque. He's a rapper, right? And he's singing a song.
Yeah.
So like whatever you would kind of classify that. It's like when rappers sing their own songs, they're not singers, they're not artists like that. I mean, they can sing, a lot of them can, but they are styled differently. It's not like Adele or anything like that, But it's not hip hop or pop like pop, kind of like Ed Sheeran or like Taylor Swift or anything. That's not rock. So I don't know. Here's the thing. I can see why they'd put it on the top country list, especially if it is it the one with Darius Rucker or
Yes.
is it
So I
okay?
think that's
So
why
I can see with that.
that's why it got lumped into the country is because Darius Rucker's on it. But
Mhm.
again, it's not really a country song.
No, it's not, but
But
I can see that.
I am glad to see though that it is doing really well because, like I said, Dax is probably one of the few rappers I actually listen to, and
He has
after,
some interesting songs.
yeah, or seeing that with Darius Rucker on there, like that song is really good, and then the verses Darius Rucker adds are even better. Or well, I don't know about better, but they're still really good. Like I said, I'm
I'll
glad
have
to see
to I'll have to listen to that because I haven't
mm,
heard the one with him on it. I've just heard
the
the main
original.
song.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um. So I'm glad
And
to
the
see.
10-minute version. And
Yeah.
the 10-minute version.
Yeah. 10-minute version on YouTube. Um. But it's kind of weird. Like so. Let me actually pull up this like top 100 list for the country songs. I had the link on my notes here, but they're not loading. So
You know, my notes have not pulled up for that yet. I'm trying to click on it and it's like doing nothing.
yeah, mine's
So
being
this
slow now
sucks.
too. Okay, here we go.
No, like mine's not even registering that I'm clicking it, but
Oh,
I'm clicking it. Like it's being David, what did you do to my notes? It's acting like you.
is it
Stupid.
is it your notes or the notes for the episode?
David, you know I don't make notes.
So it's my notes.
If I don't if I don't remember it, it's not important enough.
Right, right.
First off, who are you?
Okay, but like okay, Dax is to be a man on this top 100 list is above like uh White Horse by Chris Stapleton, Need a Favor by Jelly Roll. I don't know if I heard that one. Um, I was surprised to see that. I was kind of surprised to see that. On this list that Richmond, north of Richmond, has dropped to 14 or 13. Sorry. Because I know back in August that was number
Hmm.
one in the country.
I think I know what that is.
Like
Well,
so,
songs go through
yeah,
their times.
but like the main reason why I wanted to talk about this was one, it is a good song. If you have not heard it, go listen to it. But the reason why I want to talk about this is because I don't know that this is necessarily a country song, and it's weird that it's the number one country song in America right now. Are you frozen or are you just sitting incredibly still? All right, we might have just lost Wesley. So let me see what's going on with that.
Anyways,
And he's back.
wow, that was such a delayed. Anyways, so David, I do want to ask you this since we're on the topic of music, unless you switch topics, in which case I'm gonna switch it right back. Get back here. We're talking about music. Did you see that the Beatles released a song?
The Beatles released a song. I did not see that. No.
Let me look up what it's called. Sarah actually mentioned this to me. Um, so, uh, uh, I'm gonna. So, um, let me remember who's who. What was it? Okay, so John Lennon is the one who was murdered in the 80s, correct? Trying to remember who's
I
who.
think so. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that was John Lennon. So Paul McCartney is 80 years old or 81 years old. So he's lived basically a whole nother life since John Lennon died. Um, who else? Let's see. John Lennon and one other um are still alive. Anyway, so back before John Lennon died, they were apparently working on a song, or he was working on a song. So um they took the recording of whatever he had recorded at that time, and they were working on something in the 90s, which one other of their um members passed away, and I don't know who's who.
So I
Um,
think I I'm not even really a big Beatles fan, but I think it was it's John McCartney and Ringo Starr as the two still alive. And
I think
then
you're right.
it was John Lennon who was murdered in the um 80s, and then I think George Harrison passed away uh in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah, he died in '01. George Harrison did.
Okay.
Okay, so with all that in mind, they tried to do something in the '90s, with the remaining three, which is why in this song you have vocals from John Lennon and you have, um, what was he? He was the guitarist. You have him, uh, George Harris in this song as well because they have recordings from both. But anyways, it's called, if I can
Now and then.
find it real now and then. That's what it was. I knew it had
Yep.
to. Um, it's a really good song. Um, I mean, you said you're not that big of a Beatles fan. The Beatles, okay, I like old rock and roll, like the
Mm.
Beatles. I like Elvis. I like those old bands, the Beach Boys stuff. I love listening to those. And like, okay, I like 80s rock too. So when uh I always forget his name. What's his name came out with the new Ozzy Harriet, Ozzy Osbourne.
Mm.
When Ozzy Osbourne came out with the new album, I was like, oh, this is great. Like I was eating it up. Um, so this is another one of those things where it's like it's a great song, and then also just knowing like the behind the scenes of it all. I mean, think about that. Like, hey, this guy's, yeah, I think he's 81. Paul McCartney. But he's 81, 80, 81. He's lived he's lived a whole nother life since John Lennon died. He's lived what John Lennon lived, you know, for his whole life, doubled. And just think about how crazy that is. Like, um, it's I mean, life goes on, obviously. I mean, it's just the thing is like, it's obviously now and then. Like it talks about how he misses him now and then. Like sometimes he thinks about him now and then. And it's like you got to go on in life because life goes on. But
Mm.
like, you can't forget about the people who were in your life and just the impact that they had and all that stuff. But it's a really good song. We talked about going and checking out the "To Be a Man" song. Definitely go check out this.
Mm.
It's a great song, especially if you like the Beatles. Even just a passing like, it's a
Mm.
great song
Well,
to
because like I
check
said,
out.
like, yeah, I said I'm not the biggest Beatles fan. The reason I say that is because I know there are a bunch of Beatles fanatics, which I'm
Yeah.
not. I like a lot of Beatles songs, and so I will definitely go listen to that because I have not listened to that. So I'll definitely go listen to that
Mhm.
after this podcast. But
I'm not a fanatic, I'll say that, but I
mm,
do I
like,
do enjoy
like I
listening
said,
to the Beatles.
a lot of their music is really good.
Okay, so David, are you ready for my news article that I have? My one of two that link together.
Sure.
So um I don't know when it comes out, but anyways, the Marvels are coming out soon. It's not already out, is it? I hope not. Anyways, the Marvels is coming out soon. Um and in it, so they released a new trailer, I think this past Monday for Monday Night Football, so I'd assume it's not out as of Tuesday, but it might be out by the time this podcast comes out. Oh well, who cares? There's more to this than just that. Anyways, fans have speculated. Have you watched the new Marvel's trailer? I know you're not really keeping up with them, but have you
I have
watched
not
it?
watched the new. I did watch the first one, but I have not watched the new one.
Well, this one's better. It's better.
Okay.
Um, I have some thoughts with it, and I will mention those as we go through it. Um, for anyone, just look up final Marvel's trailer, watch that, and you'll have some context for what I'm talking about if I don't describe it in the best way. But anyways, so in it, there's a point. So they basically give away the whole entire plot of this movie, or the rest of the plot of this movie. So, what's her name? Female. What was the girl? What was the guy from Guardians, the first one?
Ronan.
Um, Ronan. Yeah, so she's basically female Ronan is what she looks like. Um, Apparently tears a hole in the fabric of the universe. Uh, so basically, like multiverses collide is kind of the thought you have with all this, right? Um, so, anyways, in the trailer, Nick Fury says the line, and I'll get the quote right here. He says the line, "Work. They're here or something. I don't know. My phone. Nothing wants to work for me ever, but let alone for this. Oh, it's down here. So he utters. They are here in the Marvel's trailers right before the thing. Yeah, thought so. Right before on screen, it words and it says everything is about to change. Essentially, like whatever. Um, Now I don't know what's talking about this. That doesn't make any sense. But anyways, so fans are speculating that this is going to introduce the X-Men. That's the point of all this. Fans are speculating this is going to introduce the X-Men. So there was I have a Screen Rants article here, and with the article they have a interview with the director of the movie. Which where did that go? I came semi prepared, but I feel like this is expected of me. Um, Anyways, I want to find the thing because it was kind of funny. Where is that? Where is it? Where is it? What's her name?
Whose name?
Her name.
Your screen's
You
getting
know her
awfully
name.
dark over there too.
Oh wow. Yeah, I guess I can't dip my head down. Um.
I think it's the light reflecting off your hat is causing
Yeah,
it to.
and it's getting a little too bright there. What's this? No, there's like a whole thought with this, but I gotta find the. So, anyways, whatever her name is, who directs the Marvels, she had a interview, and in it, the interviewer asked what her thoughts were on that, basically the X-Men being in it. She gave a interesting response. She said it was cheeky. When was the last time you heard that word, David? I want to find the quote. It was interesting. It was like cheeky. It's a cheeky thing or something. I don't even know how you use that word. Um, but
Mhm.
anyways, uh, which for the thing is, she did talk about in that interview. No, I didn't want to click on that ad. Um, in the interview, she talks about how basically she came in with a pitch, and Marvel was like, "No, actually, we're doing this." So that is a thing with directors in Marvel is they don't really have a whole lot. I mean, they obviously are directing the movie, but they have to fall in with the guidelines of what Kevin Feige and all of them are like. All right, this is how this movie is going to go because this is what it needs to set up. You have limited creative liberty, basically.
Mhm.
So they had to go a different way with it. But anyways, so that being said, like if the X-Men were supposed to be introduced in this movie, yes, she'd have to know. Um, but if the X-Men are just hinted at being in this movie, she wouldn't have to know because, she it was apparently a big controversy about her moving on to her next film um during pre or post production of this movie, which is a common thing that directors do. They have multiple things going on at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, which means that she wouldn't have to be a part of all the trailers if Marvel was just basically doing it all. Yeah, I don't know where that part went. But anyway, so I did want to mention this because this ties in. So my other article that I just won't worry about pulling up um is talking about the return of Robert Downey Jr. to the MCU. Okay.
I did see some stuff about that, but I don't know any
Here,
details.
here are rumors. Okay. So this is not fact, and even the article that I pulled up did not claim it to be fact. Okay. Well, the biggest part is that they said that he actually had already signed a deal. Um, but anyways, so the Marvel's trailer starts off like the first like literally 30 seconds or more is all flashbacks and just scenes basically from other Marvel movies. Okay. Um, you don't even get to what's actually in the Marvels until 30 seconds or more into the trailer. Um, so we talked about this during our Marvel thing rankings or whatever. How Marvel is on the decline. Marvel needs something to rejuvenate their system, and I think that the X-Men could do that for them. Um, but obviously, there's rumors going around about them bringing back RDJ and Scarlett Johansson. I've heard rumors about bringing back Chris Evans as well, basically all the main cast that they took out in Endgame. Um, and you know, obviously there's no confirmed stuff with this. My thought with this though, and I want to know what you think about this, is I think Marvel is at the point where they are that desperate. But do you really think that that would bring people in? Like, okay, if the Marvel's movie, here's the thing: if the Marvels at the end of it, uh, has like let's say the third act, because I mean if it's a cameo you can look that up on YouTube, but like let's say the third act, like the X-Men are there, like Wolverine, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is in it, maybe some of the other ones from the original X-Men is in it, or if Iron Man, like somehow time travel works and Iron Man is in it, or Chris Evans is back as Captain America, or even Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, would you go see the movie then? If that was the case, would you, if you saw that one of them was in the movie, would you go watch it to find out how they got into it and then just to see them again? Would you do that?
Maybe I don't know. I feel like that would still be one where I'd be more eager to watch it on Disney Plus, but I still don't know if I'd watch it in the theater.
Yeah, but I feel like, and it's sad because this is where Marvel's at right now. They're desperate, and hey, it might just be a thing that they're spreading rumors about signing RDJ so that maybe they get people in seats for the next couple movies that they're doing, because I mean they haven't been doing good recently, and for all intents and purposes expect the Marvels to bomb because people
Mm-hmm.
have lost interest in Marvel as a whole. And in all honesty, the only reason Captain Marvel made over $1 billion when she came out was because of she was a follow up to Endgame, not because of the character. Most people did not really care for the Captain Marvel as a movie, like
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it making a lot of money has nothing to do with the reception it had, because okay, Force Awakens is one of the better Star Wars in the sequels, but it's still not great. But it was the first Star Wars movie in years, so obviously it was going to have a big opening. So, but that is all I had. Like I said, my two articles nicely intertwined. Obviously, I couldn't find half of one, but yeah. So, anyways, that's my spiel.
Yeah,
Are we going back to
yeah,
the Fast and the Furious?
we can jump back to the Fast and Furious because I have a feeling you have a lot to talk about with that.
I got to figure out what I was saying. That's the problem. Remember, I said it. Well, no, see, I said if it was important, I'd remember it. So now I gotta. Uh, okay, so
Was that English?
maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Maybe I speak more than one language. Maybe I know one single phrase in 50 languages. What was it that what's his name knew? Um, the Puritan from Studio C sketch.
Oh,
How many languages do you speak? Oh,
one.
just
But I
one.
can speak that phrase in 150.
Yeah, so I know the
Studio
phrase.
C.
Aha. Studio C is great.
Yeah. But we're
Um,
not talking about that today. We're talking
no,
about
no,
the
we're not.
Fast and the Furious.
Yes, 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 yes. So, we already mentioned the plot, the basic plot with Brian O'Connor and all he does. I do want to talk about this. So, and you can be stupid and disagree with me, but your opinion is invalid unless you agree with me. Uh, the acting in this, despite there being a lot of like cringy lines or a lot of cringy early 2000 esque like this movie screams early 2000s. But anyways, if but despite that, the acting in this movie is really good. I was even talking to Sarah about it, and I was like, so they have the date scene between Brian and Mia, and like that didn't seem forced. They seemed like they had actual chemistry. Like it all works really well. Vin Diesel, who is usually seen as a family kind of a actor, like just basically one emotion the whole entire time. He even has like even that end scene where he's talking about like oh, Jesse's all I got, like, or all he's I'm all Jesse's got, I'm all the family he has, and I have to go looking for him because he might get hurt. Like just the emotion in that little bit there, like yeah, he might be stoic throughout most of the movie, but he does a really good job in this movie. This is when Vin Diesel still cared.
Mm-hmm.
um and he did a really good job in this. I feel like Brian was a really compelling character. Just I think all across the board, the acting in this was really, really good. Like, you know, they had a really good cast and they did a really good job with. I mean, there were some cringy lines in it. Yes, it wasn't all great, but for like 96% of it was great.
Mm. And like we mentioned, the last time we talked about Fast and Furious, um, I think this movie does a good job of this. But the reason a lot of these characters mesh so well together is because with your two leads, Brian and Dom, you have that like, yeah, especially in this one, they're opposites.
Hmm. Um, so let's talk about this. The Torettos have a diner that never gets talked about again.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching the Cinema Sins for this, and I was like, he mentions the diner, and I was like, they have a diner? I never noticed that before. I've seen this movie more than once. Never noticed it before. I never thought about the fact that Mia was working at the counter. I just glossed over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is kind of weird that they just never bring it up again.
Which really makes you wonder. Um, which I have some thoughts with this too. But really makes you wonder, why does Dom need to be stealing, pulling heists when he has a crappy diner and a very good machine mechanic shop, as well as drag races, and makes, you know, like, well, that one race that he won would have been um $6,000 in cash plus, or no, well, it would have been $6,000 in cash. He put in 2,000, and then it would also have been a car from Brian. Like, you know, he made that in a night, and if he does that like once a week, he's already living better than half of the population in America. So it's like, why does he need to steal? Which is something that I do have some thoughts with a little bit later down the line.
It's because he lives his
But
life. Because it's because he lives his life a quarter mile at a time.
no, it's because he's a bad person.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which I do want to make this comment, okay? And this is the mastery behind why this movie is actually really good. So at the end of the movie, when Brian walks off, like they show the shot and he's walking off after drove off, right? Do you feel like, yes, completion. He saved the day. Everything's good. Like that's how you feel, right? Like in watching that scene, you're like, oh, he did this really cool thing. Like that's great that he just did that, right? Right.
I mean, that's the way you feel, but in all reality, he just, let the criminal go.
Yes, David, I know. I'm asking how you feel.
Well, like I said, that's how that moment feels. That's how you're supposed to feel. That's
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that's like okay. So throughout the movie, you get attached to Dom, Mia, Letty, Vince, all maybe not Vince so much, but you get attached to all of the crew here, right? Jesse,
mm,
but they're criminals. These Dom is the bad guy in this movie.
mm,
Dom is the villain of this movie. And by the end of it, you are glad that your hero let the villain get away. Let the villain win. You're happy about that.
mm,
That's how this movie twists you. Because that's how it works within the mind of Ryan too. Like obviously we talked about it in this we talked about it in the last Fast and the Furious podcast, how the whole entire franchise up till seven, with the passing of Paul Walker, is about basically the transformation of Paul or Ryan O'Connor from a good guy to a bad guy. Like by the end of this movie, he's on the wrong side of the law. He's on the side of the law you don't want to be on, and
mm,
you empathize, like you feel for Dom as the villain.
mm.
Like he's the whole say
And
antagonist of the film.
the weird thing is like the way the movie makes you feel, you feel like Johnny Tran is the guy you don't like. You don't like
Mm-hmm.
him at all, even though in all reality, like yes, he is still a criminal because he street races and stuff, and he murdered Jesse, but in all reality, he didn't really commit many crimes compared to Dom. He's still not a good guy,
No,
but he's not as bad as
no.
Dom.
But you idolize Dom in this
Mm-hmm.
situation. Like the way that they made you essentially fall in love with the villain, and we're not talking about falling in love with Tom Hiddleston's, what color eyes does he have? I don't know. But it's not like falling in love with him because he looks good, which I mean obviously Vin Diesel, not a bad looking dude. He's muscular, people like that, whatever. Um but anyways, like you fall in love with the character,
Mm-hmm.
and but he's not a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bad dude, you
and
know?
and it's not even like how like you fall in love with like the Joker in the Dark Knight. It's not even like that.
Mhm.
Like you fall because it's just his charm. It's just there's something about him that you. It's not even just because that he's a good villain. It's just that it's just him as a character.
You like Brian, grow into the family that if Dom becomes your friend, and you see him in that way, and that's like just the way, and like many times in movies you will follow your protagonist and you will see things like they see it. Like a lot of times, okay, so we've been talking about the Hunger Games recently, right? In those movies, because it's the way the books were written, in those movies, for the most part, you are basically watching the movie through Katniss's eyes. So you see things how she sees things.
Mm.
And this is very well done in the books. And I need to watch part two of the Mockingjay to see how it is. I really need to re-watch part one before I do that. But anyways, you see how like things that seem so black and white, like oh the rebellion's good and the Capitol's bad, start to turn a little gray. Like obviously you're still against the Capitol, but you're like, well, can I trust? Can I trust over here? Because Katniss is so confused about who to trust, and because even like Gale starts to become someone who's not even always honest with her. So she's really just not sure how to. That's how this is in this movie, where you're watching it, and what used to be black and white is now. I don't want Dom to be the bad guy, because I like him so much. He's such a great guy. He's a friend,
Mm.
and then you have to face the reality, but you're like, maybe he's not so bad. No, he's a bad guy. He's robbing truckers because he thinks it's fun. No other
Mm-hmm.
reason. No other reason. Just because he's just for the thrill of it. Purely just for the thrill of it, because he's making plenty of money elsewhere.
Well,
You know.
and that's also why he does all the street racing stuff too, because like you said, he owns or at least partially owns two legitimate businesses. He doesn't need to, do all this to make money.
Um, and and he runs the underground with the street racing. Like
Mm.
he is the man down there. So, he's he's the guy, and you just end up by the end of it, you're like, family.
But yeah, it is a really weird. It's a really weird to think about because yeah, he is the villain, but you're rooting for him, and you actually get to the point where you really like him.
Hmm. And obviously that changes throughout the time of the movie. Or not throughout the films. By the end of it all, like, Dom's no longer the man he was in the first one. Um, but if you this movie, for all intents and purposes, at least in Dom's eyes, and at least in Vin Diesel's eyes, was gonna be a one and done. Um, which it can be. Like you can watch this movie and be like, yeah, that's a one and done. Um, but when you look at it like that, like, yeah, he's not a great guy, and by the end of it, you're liking the villain. Now, by the time you get around to Fast 9, Fast 10, all those, like, yeah, Dom is the main character. Dom is the guy you're following.
Mm.
And now they're even working with the government, for certain things.
Mm.
Um, but that's not the case in this. Even in Too Fast, Too Furious, Brian is on the wrong side of the law. Him and his friend, who's also on the wrong side of the law, do help out the FBI to get you know in good graces and get their time clean, their slates clean. Um, but it's still like, hey, you're two bad guys. You have a rap sheet, so now you can get in with these other guys. But like the only reason they're working is because they have the incentive of getting their record clean.
Mm.
Um, by the time you skip over to Fast and the Furious, Fast and Furious, there's no the in either one, is there? I don't know. Fast Four,
Yeah.
whatever it's called. By the time you get to that one, then it starts to take shape in the Fast and the Furious franchise that we know. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's like if you just look at this movie and you're like, hmm, this is its own movie, nothing else to it. Yeah, by the end of it, you're loving the villain, and you're like, why? It's like all played out throughout in front of you, and you're just like, why? You're on the same path Brian is on the whole entire movie.
Mm. Because like you said, like even like Fast Four and Fast Five, like they're still on the wrong side of the law, but they're taking down someone worse.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
they're still technically the good guys, I guess. But yeah, in this one, you're right. Like Dom is the bad guy.
Um. Also, I want to mention more things with the creativeness, I guess, of how they introduce things in this movie. So, in all honesty, first off, there's not really much mystery behind who. Like when you start the movie off, you're like, yeah, it's probably Dom. It's probably them. there is a sense of mystery because you don't necessarily know, but like it's kind of like because how movies are.
Mm.
Now that may not have been the case then, but nowadays it's with movies you just know. Um, they follow the same tropes over and over again. It's all
Mm.
cliche, whatever. It was whatever. Um, I do like how they lay out certain things. Like they do make you think for a while, like Brian, oh, maybe it's Hector and his crew. Okay, well, it's not them. Oh, maybe it's Johnny Chang. What's his name?
Tran, I
Tran.
think.
I was about to
Yeah,
say Johnny
Tran.
Test.
Test. That's
Johnny Test.
that's
Yes, whatever it is, the
that's Cartoon,
Nickelodeon
or
Cartoon Network.
is it Cartoon Network or
I
Nickelodeon?
think I have no idea who owns what and what the difference is. It's been so long since I've watched any of those.
All I know is Nickelodeon and
Anyways,
SpongeBob. SpongeBob. But anyway,
yeah. Anyways, so then you think for a while, you're like, oh, it's him. Then you find out for some reason that they purchased those DVD players or whatever legally, for
but
engine reasons.
you kind of have to ask why though. Like why did?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Also, I love and Sarah made this comment. So you know how the FBI agent is like when Brian's like, oh, you can't pin it on me, and he's like, oh, I can pin it on whoever I want, and it's like, yeah, but your superiors are gonna get mad at you, even if you get mad at this underling over here. Also, he's the guy who decided to do the raid even when Brian told him not to, and he's getting pissed off over here that Brian gave him faulty intel. He's like, give me some more time. No, we're gonna go and we're gonna take him out. And then he's like, man, I need you to give me better intel. And Brian's like, oh no, you're not gonna pin it. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna pin it on you because I can. It's like, all right, cool. Whenever you don't get a job somewhere because you got fired by the FBI, don't go
Mm-hmm.
crying to Brian in the criminal world. Oh. But I mean, that's another thing about it is you Leland Stollermeyer, whatever his name is from Monk. Um, the chief from Monk is in this movie. I don't know
Yeah.
what the actor's name is, but anyways, and he's a chief in this movie. I think he's just a chief in real life. Anyways, so he's a great character. Like
Mm.
there's that one scene where Brian's talking about, "Hey, give me a cigarette," and he's like, "Well, no, don't give him a cigarette. What? I thought you quit." He's actually concerned. He has that other conversation after that, getting chewed out by the FBI guy. And he's like, you need to you need to come to the conclusion and stop lying to yourself that it is Dom. He at no point is aggressive towards Brian. He's like he's like a father figure in this movie towards Brian.
Mm.
Aside from him, though, like the FBI guy, you end up hating him by the end of this movie because of the lack of respect that um the lack of respect he shows Brian. And by um words, English is hard. And by associate, or not by association, that's not what I wanted. It just came easy. Uh Compare that though to the way Dom treats Brian. Dom treats him with respect. And so you start to see that bit of a dynamic too, and you're like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I want to root for the one that actually respects this guy? Why would I want to be with this guy over here who puts the main guy down? Because you're putting yourself in Brian's
Mm.
shoes. And
Mm.
no one likes to be disrespected.
And one thing too, like with Dom, after he finds out Brian is a cop, you mentioned that respect there. You can tell just there he has respect because he could have and he had reason to try to kill Brian then and there.
Snap his neck with one hand.
Exactly.
Try two fingers. Oh,
And then later on when Brian shows up at his house, Dom's holding a shotgun. What does he do? He puts it down.
well, the thing with that though too is I feel like there's probably a little bit of conflict in Dom at that point because he did grow to actually like Brian.
Mm.
Um, but he's more concerned about Jesse
Yeah.
at that point in time than he is Brian. He's like, whatever, this is gonna go how it's gonna go, but Jesse, I He's freaking out. I need to help him. You know, and
It's still all about
man,
family.
they really do just lay that down so thick in this movie. And okay, they okay. In all honesty, it's there, and if you think about it, you see it, but it's kind of subtle.
Mm.
And then it becomes the whole entire like the biggest thing for these movies. It's kind of funny, but man, that scene with Jesse getting shot is really sad. Like every
Mm-hmm.
time I watch it, I'm like, maybe he'll get down, maybe he won't get shot, maybe the bullets missed him this time. Like when you're watching Revenge of the Sith, and you're like, maybe Anakin will stay in the temple. Maybe he won't go and kill the younglings or go kill Mace Windu. I guess is cut his hand off or whatever. So you always hope for a different outcome, but it's the same movie. They didn't reshoot it.
Mm-hmm.
They did reshoot Jesse though, riddled him with bullets. It's not too soon. It was 2001. This movie came out in 2001. It's not too soon.
Also, you know, I know again they're criminals, but uh, Johnny and whatever has got the guy who's on the bike with it, on the other bike with him. They kind of are dumb because they just go up and shoot up a house in a neighborhood middle of the day, like,
But no one claimed that they were smart. So
and then after Brian starts chasing them, they're just shooting bullets every which way.
I know I mentioned to Sarah. I was like, imagine coming out and being like, hold my car, then having to deal with that. And insurance, like, sorry, you don't have that on your thing. This is not covered. You have to pay that out. Like, this isn't my fault. Well, you should live in a better neighborhood. I'm in a great part of town. Someone just drove by and shot my car. But insurance doesn't care. Insurance is a ripoff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Insurance is the real enemy.
Yes. Charge you a bunch of money for something you're probably never gonna use, and then when you actually do need it, they don't want to pay you.
Or they make it extremely difficult to deal with.
Exactly.
This thing is like there's you'll hear YouTubers have sponsorships with um certain insurance companies, and this is making sure that we'll never get one. But they're over here like, oh yeah, every time they make filing claims so easy, and they're so helpful and respond, and it's like, no, no. If they do that, it's because of who you are, not because they're actually good at this. They just want to make a good impression on you. Otherwise, they don't care. Ask Joe Schmo over here. Joe Schmo right here. I have had problems with filing claims on insurance companies before. They drag it out so long. I mean, your brother had his problem with his truck where he got in the accident,
Mm-hmm.
and he got. I didn't have to deal with that, but I know somewhat. I don't know anything of what he went through. That was way bigger than anything that I've ever had to deal with. But like they drug that out for however long.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I heard, I think it was like a couple months later. I was like, "Oh yeah, they finally get that figured out." And he was like, "Oh, that was tough." They just make it difficult because they don't want to pay you.
And
They
then
just want to take your money,
also,
like the government.
when I used to work at the car dealership, that's one thing I had to do is call. Or a lot of times I had to call the insurance. Whenever I sold a car, a couple days later, I would have to call the insurance company, make sure they actually got insurance for legal reasons.
Mhm.
I wasn't even asking for money, and it was still a pain to actually get someone to actually give me a straight answer on something.
It's someone else's department.
Actually, um, well, so I would have working that job. I had to call insurance companies and banks so often. I don't ever want to talk to an insurance company on the phone again or a bank on the phone again, just because I.
See, David, that's why you get married and you make your wife do it all.
Oh gosh, but yeah,
You have to have a you have to have a good excuse though. Like I'm busy most of the time, so I'm just like, yeah, hey, I work till 5 and I go in before 9, so I can't call anyone. And she's like, all right, fine, I'll do it. Although she is the extrovert in our relationship, and I don't know how many people who listen to this at this point in time will actually believe that, because most people who listen to this are family. um, or people who know us. And if they know us, they probably won't believe the fact that I'm not the extrovert in our relationship, but I'm extremely introverted. I don't like people. David, I don't like you. I'm
see,
sorry. I feel
see
like I need to break
the
the
way
news. It's
Wesley is if
been
you if
21 years.
the way Wesley is if he doesn't know you, he's not really going to talk to you. But as soon as he gets to know you, you can't get him to shut up.
I personally feel attacked. Just slightly, but it's slight enough that I feel like you slighted me in that, and I'm a little bit offended. I I think an apology is necessary. And I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I think I'm just going to talk to the viewer. So
Okay,
you are
Wesley,
excommunicated.
well,
Shun, unshun.
Wesley,
What? Wait, unshun.
Wesley, I apologize that I can't get you to shut up.
Okay, cool. We're good. We're good then. I love getting sincere and yeah, yo. I love getting sincere apologies. They just make my day. Okay, David. So I have lost all train of thought. I don't know what else I was thinking about with the Fast and Furious movie. I think that this was a great movie. Um, I would love to talk about the later ones because some of them, the first couple of ones, I think they actually had a plot with it before
Mm.
they became just shoot 'em up movies. Um, but I would love to talk more about them. And if you enjoyed this podcast, even though it's outcast, okay, listen to our tagline. We get so far off track, you have to just stick around and see where we show up. Haha, that's the whole line. Anyways, got you to listen to it again. But anyways, so what I was saying is that even though it's a little bit mumbo jumbo all over the place, if you enjoy us talking about the Fast and the Furious first movie, there, let us know, and we might end up fitting it into the schedule where we talk about it a little bit more down the line. Because I actually wouldn't mind talking about these movies again, and I'm sure eventually we'll have nothing else better to do. So I mean, do you have anything else to say, David? I'm kind of running out of things to say with this movie. I know I've been talking most of this podcast, but you don't say much.
Oh, I mean,
Case in point.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're done
I know.
talking about it, but
I mean, if you have something to say, I could probably figure out something to say off of that. But if you don't, we can just move on to the stuff. But I don't want to keep you from saying stuff.
what?
Or even if you have something to say it.
You said stuff so many times in that sentence. Okay, but yeah. I mean, I think I'm pretty much done talking about this. We do have Truckcast trivia, which we can talk more about. Fast and Furious, because it's about Fast and the Furious.
Well, that's I feel like you're making my point that I made at the beginning of the episode, saying that you're stupid. Like, I don't know if I should degrade stupid people to put you
Okay,
on
okay,
their level, but I feel like I'm gonna put you in that category for now because I don't really know how else to classify you.
okay. But you notice I never said you were wrong.
I didn't ask.
Exactly.
It was a statement. You have no power to deny it.
I mean, I didn't deny it, so
I know, but you couldn't even if you wanted to because well, you probably couldn't figure out how to. But I think it's just time to stop killing our brain cells and just let's go to the quiz aspect of the show where we have to think and
All
kill
right.
more brain cells.
Trillcast trivia. I was about to say you're gonna lose more brain cells. I might not lose more, but you're gonna lose more.
Trillcast trivia.
That's right. Trailcast trivia. Without further ado, let's do further and jump right in. All right. So I think only one of these isn't about the first movie. So yeah. You ready?
Yeah, I'm reading the questions and seeing how many I know.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's start off with question number 1. Numero uno. Question number 1. What was The Fast and the Furious based on? Is it A, a novel, B, a documentary, C, a magazine article, or D, a short story? Now, one thing I did notice you got this wrong on Instagram. So we'll
I do
see.
want to talk. I do want to talk about that. I know what it is, but I do want to talk about it.
So we'll see if you actually do know what it is now.
Okay. So, as always, I'm gonna preference this every time because we never know when we have a new listener. Very rarely, but hey, who knows? Anyways, it's very rare for them to stick around this long. Um, if you're listening and you want to play along, we'll give a brief moment for you to pause the video or episode, whatever, while you're thinking about your answer. And then I'm going to dive into my thoughts on this and start spoiling things or answering or whatever. So if you don't want me to help or hurt you in any way, you know. All right. So, David, I did miss this earlier. I had heard it earlier, and I was like, I know it's either a magazine article or a documentary, one of the two. Um, but uh, I see. I think you switched these around. Interesting. Um, but anyways, uh, my answer is a magazine article. Uh, because I'm pretty sure I remember it being a magazine article.
So yeah, the A, B, and C are different on here than it was on Instagram. But it's the same
I know.
answers. Same answers, just in a different
Yeah.
order. Actually,
Yeah.
only B and C are swapped. But that is correct.
It's
It is C,
because
a
you're trying to
magazine article.
trick me. Because you're trying to trick me.
Well, no, it's just I put them in the wrong order on here.
Wow. So you are just, David, you're just proving my point. All right. Question number next.
What? You know what? You know what? Not gonna ask.
I'm not even sure what you're reacting to because I said a bunch of things there. I don't know what caught up to you.
Okay. Question number next.
But that's what. See, I say that every single time I'm listening to this part of the podcast. I'm like, question number next. So I thought I had to add it in for my future self listening to this whenever.
Uh-huh. Question number 2. What does Brian always order for lunch? Is it A, a tuna sandwich, B, a meatball sub, C, a turkey sandwich, or D, a chicken sandwich?
It was crappy yesterday. It was crappy the day before, and it will be crappy tomorrow. Tuna sandwich.
So, was it just like a sandwich with just like ground tuna on it? Or is it like a tuna salad sandwich? Or because they didn't really specify, they just said tuna sandwich.
I like to think it's just a tuna fish laying on the sandwich
Just a
with
whole
two pieces
fish.
of bread. Whole fish. Bone and all. Scales, everything. They just literally caught it out back.
You do know how big a tuna is, right?
Yeah. Just and no crust. No crust. So it makes the thing, a little bit smaller.
Okay. Oh.
Fine. Do you want to have two tuna on it? I feel like that's going to be just costing too much. But if you want to do it that way, that's okay.
Okay, but yeah, yeah, it is a tuna sandwich. You're correct.
Um, I heard a analogy, or I heard something with this, where they were talking about how where they made an intent, or they didn't mean intent intentionally, but it's kind of funny. Um, this tuna sandwich is a allegory. I think I'm using that word right for the Fast and Furious franchise. In that it was crappy yesterday, it'll be crappy tomorrow, and yeah, but we still order it because he got a fine sister. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Question number 3. What year did The Fast and the Furious come out? Is it A, 2000, B, 2001, C, 2002, or D, 2003?
I hate you.
I love you too, Wesley.
Finally got you to say it. Anyways, so uh, I hate you because this movie came out June 22nd, 2001.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
So 2001.
at least I didn't ask for the specific date, but you already knew it, so.
That's why I hate you. I know it now. The one time I don't need to.
But yes, you are correct. It was 2001.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, I think the only time I'm actually going to do the full date is when it's one of those 4 dates that keep showing up.
Uh-huh.
I do
Yeah,
think
but
it's
see, this is
funny.
when
I do think it's
this is why
funny that
nobody likes you.
I do think it's funny that it's three movies we've talked about in the past month have all come out on May 25th. So I just used the same answers, just changed the year. I do find that funny. So you are
See,
3
David,
and 0.
this is why nobody likes you. I just hope you know.
Yeah,
Change this about you, and maybe someone might be your friend
yeah,
one day.
you are 3 and 0, and there are only 12 questions, so you are 25% of the way there.
Aha! But that's not 50%.
No,
I think I
25%.
think I
It's
think you're a little
50%
stupid.
of 50%.
I don't like you at all.
Okay. Oh.
I just need to drive that point home because yeah, this is, man,
Well, speaking of
just testing all the patience.
speaking of driving, question number 4. What car does Brian drive in The Fast and the Furious? Is it a 1950 or 1995 Mitsubishi Eclipse, or B, a 1999 Nissan Skyline GTR R34, C, a 1970 Dodge Charger, or D, a 2000 Mazda RX-8?
Is this the car he has in the beginning of the movie?
Yes.
The one that gets blown up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. Um, didn't really change my answer, but it might have made me think a little bit harder. I'm gonna go with B, a 1999 Nissan Skyline GTR R34. I don't specifically know this, but I know when I did listen to the thing earlier, I was listening to stuff about the movie. They rambled on for a little while talking about his car. So
Mm-hmm. So, that is incorrect. The 1999 Nissan Skyline is the car he drives in the rest of the franchise.
is it the
Like,
Mitsubishis?
it is the 1995 Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Hmm. That was the thing is I was like I thought it might have been I didn't think I remembered it being a Nissan, but
Because that's
I
another thing. That's another thing. I don't think there were. I was paying attention to that. I don't remember seeing badges on any of the cars in the movie. So
yeah, but I mean you know what they look like. I
yeah,
don't remember it
yeah.
looking like a Nissan, but I knew it wasn't a Dodge, obviously,
Well, because that's Dom's
and
car.
yeah,
Um,
but oh well.
and the Mazda RX-8. I don't remember where that was another. That's another car that showed up in the franchise, but I don't remember where it came from. Anyway,
Apparently they've destroyed in this movie alone like over 100 some odd cars.
oh, I believe it.
I don't remember the exact number, but yeah, like each movie, like this one I think has like 150 some cars they destroyed. The next one's like 200 something. Then they went like they stayed steady at 200 for a while, and then they came back down to like one. They've destroyed a lot of cars in this.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
You'd think if
moving on.
CGI has gotten better, they could do it better, but or they could do it
They
that
might
much better. But
they might have changed it, but you know. Anyways,
question number 5: Who directed The Fast and the Furious? Is it A. Louis Leterrier, B. Gary Scott Thomas, C. Paul, or sorry, B was Gary Scott Thompson, C is Paul Thomas Anderson, and D Vin Diesel.
so I don't necessarily remember this. Fun little tidbit. The pizza boy, in the first scene when they do the drag race, is a cameo by the director. That doesn't mean I know who it is. I'm gonna go with B. Gary Scott Thomas because I feel like that sounds right. But a lot of names are flooding through my head, and a lot of them I know are not right for this. Um, and I'm probably gonna kick myself if I get this wrong. But I know Vin Diesel didn't do it, so that one's clearly out. Anyways, B is my final answer.
Unfortunately, that is incorrect. Gary Scott Thompson wrote the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The actual director was A. Louis Leterrier. I think how it's pronounced.
Maybe that's why I didn't think it sounded right. You just pronounced it wrong.
Well, you're looking at it. You can read it.
That doesn't mean I know what it says. I've heard his name. I haven't seen his name.
Uh huh.
Anyways, that's fine.
Question number 6: Who didn't even have a driver's license before the film's production began? Is it A. Michelle Rodriguez, B. Paul Walker, C. Rick Yoon, or D. None of the above?
Um, Question. Michelle Rodriguez, is that Letty?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, I knew that Letty and I think Mia and one other actor didn't have their license. But I didn't remember. I was gonna go with Michelle Rodriguez because that was who I thought was Letty. But I wanted the clarifying question answer. So, anyways, that's my final answer. A.
That is correct. Yes, and it was correct. It was both Michelle Rodriguez and I can't remember her name, but the actress who played Mia. Neither one of them had a driver's license
Mm.
before the production
And
of this movie.
I thought I heard one more, but I don't necessarily remember
It's possible it
what it
might have been
was.
one of the side characters, but yeah.
I think it was either Vince or what's his name? The other guy. What's his name?
Uh, the other guy, yeah. I
Yeah, the
don't
other
know.
guy, who I don't think makes another appearance in the franchise that I remember.
Yeah, I don't
Anyways, that's
know.
fine. All right, moving on.
You're 4-2. Question number 7: What restaurant does Brian take Mia to on their first date? Is it A. La Cubana, C or B. Cha Cha Cha, C. The Tropicana, or D. Taco Bell?
The Tropicana. Uh, my answer is going to be Cha Cha Cha. You know, that nice little restaurant. What were you talking about? Oh yeah, Cha Cha Cha's. Yeah. Well, you can take me there. Baller. Anyways.
Yes, that is correct. It is B. Cha cha cha.
Wow. And you didn't even let me say final answer.
Well, you were just too busy quoting the movie, so.
Okay, cool. That's fine. Antonio?
Question number 8. How much prison time has Dom done? Is it A, none, B, 6 months, C, 2 years, or D, 3 years?
What are the options? Let me look at these again. I was too busy shaking my head.
You're nodding your head.
That's shaking it. This is nodding it is shaking it, David. I am sorry that you're so wrong today. I don't know how I could be you. I'm glad I'm not. Couldn't live in that essence or that state of just wrongness. I am, as Sarah most notably knows, never wrong. My I say that and I get this wrong. Shut up. Shut up. All right. My answer is 2. Not 2. 2 years. That's C, I believe. Yeah. C, 2 years.
That's correct.
I'm
Okay.
never wrong. Things are just worded weird. It's never my fault, David. It's always
Okay.
yours.
And that puts you at 6 and 2. You're not going to say
It,
anything about you being 50%?
I was about to say something. You didn't give me time. I was too busy eating my goldfish, and then I realized what you said, and I put 2 and 2 together. And yes, I am 50%. You can't take it away from me. I am just the greatest. I know. Ask the next question.
I think 2 and 2 is 4, not 50.
Who said fit? You're not smart. All right. Next question.
Question number 9. When Jesse says grace, what is he thankful for? Is it A, direct point nitrous injection, or direct port nitrous injection, B, 4-cone intercoolers, C, titanium valve springs, or D, all of the above?
It's failed me before, but I remember one time a friend in my class said, uh, if the option of all the above is ever given, always take it. I've gone against that before. However, I don't remember all the mumbo jumbo he said, and I believe I remember him saying at least 2 of those things. So that being the case, I'm gonna go with all the above.
I consider putting all of the above and none of the above as options for every single question in this trivia. But yes, that is correct. It was all of the above.
See, David, nobody likes you.
I did put none of the above earlier, and that was wrong. So I thought that might
Yeah,
trick you. But you knew the answer to that
no.
question, so.
Yeah, see, David, you can't trick me. I'm just too smart for your tiny little pea-sized brain
Question
and your
number 10.
overly large sized
How
head.
did Dom's dad die? Is it A, a car crash, B, a convenience store robbery, C, a bar fight, or D, he was murdered?
I think his body failed him. Let me find the options again. All right, a car wash. Um, he was murdered in a bar fight because the car wash was at the convenience store.
What?
Anyways, he died on in a car crash. He was on in a race or whatever, and yeah, whatever. Anyways, car crash.
That's correct, but where were you getting car wash from?
When I read it, I read car wash.
Where'd you get the W from?
I'm not entirely sure. I think I created it out of my mind.
Created it out of your mind. Right.
car wash, car crash. They kind of sound similar.
Question number 11. Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift was the third movie to come out. Where is it chronologically? Is it A, 4th, B, 5th, C, 6th, or D, 7th?
I have absolutely no idea, but my best guess. So let's see. It'd be 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So it'd be 7th one. Because I remember two. I believe I remember two movies with Gal Gadot in it, and 4 was the one where I think Vince comes back, and they're in Mexico. I think that's. Anyways, I don't want to overthink it because I'm gonna think about too many things. 7th, I got 50%. Final answer D7.
The answer was C, 6th. So you were right about what movies came before it, except it's 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. But you
Because
forgot to move.
because I
Yeah,
subtracted, yeah.
yeah. You took out Tokyo Drift, but you forgot that you took it out.
I did because when I was looking at it to begin with, I was like, I'm pretty sure it comes after 6 and 7 comes after it. Um, and then when I was counting, I forgot that I had 5 fingers out up. Whatever, it's whatever. You know, we're here.
Mm-hmm. Question number 12. What police agency does Brian work for in The Fast and the Furious? Is it A, the LAPD, B, the FBI, C, the California State Police, or D, the SDPD?
San Diego Police Department.
Yes.
Well, I was trying to figure out what it was saying, and then that's what came to mind, but I wasn't sure. Well, this is hard. I don't even know where the location of the movie was. Anyways, the California State Police, because he wasn't with the FBI. He was trying to make detective, but anyways, uh, he was working with the FBI, and it was out in California. It wasn't LA. Well, it's Los Angeles or whatever. This is David. I'm the smart one here, and this is sad. Um, when you said LAPD, I thought I was thinking New York City.
That's
NYPD.
NYPD, yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna go with LAPD. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Yeah, on further reflection, I already got 50%. I don't even know what I'm at, but I know I'm over 50%. So LAPD, final answer.
That is correct. You almost had it wrong, but you corrected yourself there. Yeah. Yeah, that is correct. It is A, the LAPD. Which puts you at 9 and 3. So you finish with 75%.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I know you only care about 50%.
That's all I need.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, speak of the devil, she's here. All right, David, I need to take a quick pause. We're going to get things set up, and then we're going to lead right into our newest segment, where Sarah is going to roast us because of how wrong we are about our ranking of the Marvel movies.
Yeah. So
All right,
what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? Yes, let me get things set up real quick, and then we'll get right into it.
Alrighty. And we're back. So, as mentioned earlier in the podcast, this is a new segment called What's Wrong with You? And of course, you refers to Wesley and I because Sarah's going to tell us how we're idiots. So, everyone, please welcome Sarah.
I'll just jump right into it.
Sure.
I'm gonna start from the bottom and go up because we'll agree more. So the bottom get to the top. But coming in at what are you doing?
I'm just pulling up ours.
Coming
Yeah,
in
let me
at
pull up ours, too.
32, I have Quantum Mania. I think that's the worst one. I know you have Eternals as your last one, which Eternals is 31, so they're very close. But I found Ant-Man more repulsive and Eternals just boring.
Fair enough.
Wait. Yours was Ant-Man Quantumania?
Yeah, Ant-Man Quantumania.
Okay.
And then Eternals. Then I have Captain Marvel. And then I have Thor Love and Thunder and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and that's my bottom 5.
So, our bottom fives are fairly similar. I feel like, so you had Thor Love and Thunder in there instead of Thor the Dark World.
Yeah, I think Love and Thunder is worse than the Dark World.
Fair enough.
I like the villain in Love and Thunder. Gore is a great villain, but he's only in the movie for like 5 minutes.
So,
and that's the only redeemable part of the movie for me.
I feel like that's why we had it ranked up so high or higher because our Thor Love and Thunder for us is at 26. I feel like we had it ranked so high is because Gore is an amazing villain, even though he was very underused. And I think Thor Love and Thunder has an amazing soundtrack, but
see, I feel like Dark World, even though it's not a great movie, is a better movie with a worse villain, and Thor Love and Thunder is a worse movie with a really good villain.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Ant-Man and the Wasp. The next like 5 or so, to be honest, are right here because they were just kind of unforgettable, and I don't remember much of what happened.
So you're starting back with 27?
Unforgettable.
Not unforgettable.
They're so unforgettable. She just couldn't forget them. That's why she ranked them so low.
Ant-Man and the Wasp is 28, and then 27 is Incredible Hulk. Then I have Iron Man 3, Iron Man 2, and then I have Thor the Dark World. So they're like 5.
So, yeah, okay, so we agreed about the Incredible Hulk because that's our 27 as well. And then our 26 was Thor Love and Thunder. Which you had which was your 26?
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3. And then our 25 was Black Widow, and you said you had Iron Man 2 there.
Yeah, I have Black Widow a good bit higher than you guys do.
Mm-hmm. Which, okay, like, once we get into this point, this is where I think they start to get, like, from Black Widow up, I think they start to get, like, they're actually good movies. It's just they're not as good as some of the others.
I was going to say, like, you can be, like, the bad part of my list is only, like, the bottom, like, 8.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's just ones I like more. Not necessarily that I don't like them.
Because, like, our 24 is Shang-Chi, and like Wes said, that like, Shang-Chi is a good movie. I just think there's better movies.
Shang-Chi is 23 for me, after Thor the Dark World.
Okay, see, that's Wakanda Forever.
Shang-Chi had no business being as good as it was.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I remember enjoying it when I was watching it, but I also don't remember that much about it. So it's kind of in the forgettable area.
Yeah. All right,
after Shang-Chi, I have Wakanda Forever.
So that's your 22?
Yeah, 22.
Okay. Continue.
21 is Thor, the first one.
We agree on another one.
And then 20 is Ant-Man.
Okay. 19
is Black Panther. 18 is Age of Ultron. Oh, we were close with that one. Yeah.
Yep.
And then 16 is Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. 15 is the first Iron Man. 14, Civil War. I will not be taking notes.
And so here's the thing.
I will not be taking notes.
So after that episode came out, I'm assuming after you listened to it, because it was a couple days after it came out, but you texted me, and I'm assuming you talked Wesley's ear off about this, but you saying that Captain America Civil War is the most overrated MCU movie.
I wouldn't say it's completely overrated.
But you did.
It's definitely overrated with you two. But here's my thing. Civil War is a great movie. Civil War is a good movie. It's the weakest Captain America movie, hands down. It is.
No, David, don't even give that a side thought. No.
There's no way you can say the first Avenger is the weakest one.
I can.
No,
because I do. It's an amazing movie. It's the weakest of the three.
No.
Continue with your list.
After Civil War at 13, I have Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And then I have the first Doctor Strange. And then Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and Guardians of the Galaxy. So those I had really close together. All three of them.
You have Guardians of the Galaxy at 10?
David,
Yes.
I'm not. The only reason we ranked Guardians so high is because I couldn't outvote you. But I'm not even as.
I like Guardians, and I like it enough for it to be top 10. But
nobody
it's not top 10.
is as high on Guardians as you are, David. Nobody. Not even James Gunn.
After Guardians, I have the first Avengers. Not the first Avenger, but Avengers from 2012. And then I have Homecoming, Ragnarok, and No Way Home. Which I know that was Homecoming was 8, Ragnarok was 7, and No Way Home was 6.
Okay, so we're pretty close.
I know No Way Home is pure nostalgia, but I love it, and I'm not gonna apologize for it. And then top 5 are Far From Home, Endgame, Infinity War, Captain America: The First Avenger, and Captain America: Winter Soldier. And I will not be taking notes.
See, I'm okay with Winter Soldier being number 1 because we even talked about that.
And see, okay.
And I'll go ahead and say, Winter Soldier and First Avenger can flip flop for me depending on the day. I love both.
And you see,
they're basically tied in my mind.
Here's the thing, I don't think that that's a bad top 5, but I disagree that Civil War is the weakest of the Captain America series.
Civil War doesn't deserve to be in top 5.
Okay, so we can debate about this in a second. I do want to bring in a 4th opinion, I guess, since me and David are already 2 opinions. So my sister Taylor, shout out Taylor, hello, hi, thank you for listening. She made her own ranking of the movies, and obviously they differ a little bit. And I'm gonna go from the bottom up. She said, I'll get to this in a second.
A lot of the newer ones she hadn't.
A lot of the newer ones she hadn't seen. I'm talking. A lot of the newer ones she hadn't seen, so she ranks them lower and kind of just ranks them how she thinks she would like them. So don't really get too hard on her for her. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So her bottom 8, don't get on her too hard for this. The rest is really where it comes in. Starting at the very bottom, she has Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Let me pull up the sheet here. Okay, so 32, she has Multiverse of Madness. 31, she has Thor: Love and Thunder. 30, she has The Incredible Hulk, which that's not one that she hadn't seen. She just ranked it that low. Let's see, 29, she ranked Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. 28, she ranked Quantumania, and I watched Quantumania. 27, Wakanda Forever. 26, Guardians Volume 3, and 25, Eternals. She said that from Eternals down, all the ones I just listed, she had not seen. So except for Incredible Hulk. So don't get on her too hard about that. From here is really where she just started actually ranking them based off of what she remembered. So what was it, 24?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yes.
Ant-Man.
So starting at 24, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp. 23, Iron Man 2. 22, Thor: The Dark World. 21, Captain Marvel. 20, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. 19, Black Widow. 18, Iron Man 3. 17, Thor. 16, Guardians of the Galaxy.
She had Guardians of the Galaxy at 16, David.
What did I just say? 16? This is 15, right?
Yeah.
15, Iron Man. 14, Age of Ultron. 13, Ragnarok.
That hurts
12,
too.
yeah, this next one's really gonna hurt. 12, Winter Soldier.
She said she didn't remember it at all.
She said she didn't remember it at all. So you can give her a little bit of heat for that. But yeah, I was kind of surprised. Kind of surprised about that one. What was that, 12?
Mm-hmm.
11, No Way Home. 10, we're inside the top 10. So 10, Black Panther. 9, Doctor Strange. 8, Ant-Man. 7, The Avengers. 6, Avengers Endgame. 5, Spider-Man Homecoming. 4, Captain America: The First Avenger. 3, Spider-Man Far From Home. 2, Avengers Infinity War. And number 1, Captain America: Civil War. So we do have someone else who does believe that Civil War is number 1 on this list. And she did make the comment. I have talked to her about this since. She did make the comment that it doesn't really feel like a Captain America movie, but it still is one of the best, if not up there with the best Marvel movies. I mean, it's basically the next Avengers movie. It's what Age of Ultron never was.
It's
but,
Avengers 2.5.
Better than Age of Ultron.
Yeah. So, but I will say that the Winter Soldier being so low is just there's no universe. There's no universe where Winter Soldier is the weakest of the weakest
See,
of
okay,
the Captain
that's the
America.
thing. Like,
I was gonna
Winter Soldier, I don't think belongs anywhere outside of the top 5.
Mhm.
Like, if someone
I
has
was
a
gonna
different
say I'll have.
Hmm?
Sorry, go ahead.
If someone has a different list and they put it at like 4 or 5, I wouldn't be too upset with that, because people might like different movies more than others. Like how we were just talking about how I really like Guardians of the Galaxy. Wesley really likes the Spider-Man movies. We disagree on that, but so I wouldn't be too upset. But I don't think that Winter Soldier doesn't belong in the top 5. But maybe that's just because she said she couldn't remember it.
Which is just atrocious,
I
mean,
don't
the
know.
fact
The
that
last time she saw it.
I don't know when the last time she saw it would have been, but she needs to rewatch it. So, yeah, Taylor, if you're listening, when you're listening to this, just curl up, get some hot cocoa. It's getting cold. Get some hot cocoa. Turn on that big TV of yours and put on Winter Soldier and just.
You know what? Go ahead and just pause the podcast right here and go watch Winter Soldier.
I mean, we'll probably be done soon anyway. So yeah, just
yeah,
forego the rest of it. It's not important. Watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
All I learned is that I can't trust Taylor's opinion even more than I can't trust y'all's.
Okay, so you haven't been here for this whole entire thing. David's an idiot.
I did. Was that supposed to be news?
And I'm always right. Now you have been married to me, so you do know that because experience.
I know what you think.
But I'm always right, and obviously I had to fight with David a little bit on this list. Guardians is not in my top 5, but
I think it deserves top 10.
Top 10, yes. Top 5, no. But I'm right, and Civil War is one of, if not the best Marvel movie out there. So it's okay, Sarah. This is why. What's wrong with you?
What do you like about it?
It's amazing. Spider-Man.
You just like it because Spider-Man's in it?
No, if I just liked it because Spider-Man was in it, I would rather rank the Spider-Man movies ahead.
Yeah, but David wouldn't let you.
No. No, the Spider-Man would not be my number 1 movie. I would put either Winter Soldier or Civil War as my number 1 movie.
Yeah, but I asked you what you liked about it, and all you said was Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, what am I supposed to dive into the intricacy of the movie?
But just name something that it does better than the other two.
Okay. So the reason that it can kind of flip flop back and
The
forth,
score in the first two are way better. I'll go ahead and say that.
the reason that I can kind of flip flop back and forth between Winter Soldier or Civil War is because of the intricacy of each plot. The spy thriller that they do in Winter Soldier is really intriguing, really fun to watch. Sure, you know that Bucky is the Winter Soldier the whole entire time. Both of y'all let me talk. Sure, you know that the whole entire time, but it's still interesting to see that and kind of have that all unfold. The end scene where you have Black Widow going in and infiltrating and all that stuff. Like, oh, there's a bunch of just different cool aspects to it that make Winter Soldier really good. But also that's the same thing when it comes into Civil War. The emotion behind it, because you've been building up with these characters for so long. Your villain, yeah, you have a villain in the movie, but he's making the two sides fight against each other. And both sides, you're like, I see where they're coming from. I see why Tony wants to have basically have accountability because of the toll that all the Avenger movies and the events of those movies have taken on him. The Iron Man movies, I see like why he thinks that heroes like them need accountability. But then you also see, you know, Captain America in the first Avenger. He's the good boy. He's the one that's going to be listening, following the rules. But he learned in Winter Soldier that he can't trust everyone. So now he's like, I don't know if I should do. I think that I have the better judgment than listening to all these people in power. I think I have the better judgment. Now you have two sides that are fighting against each other, and that infight scene is just so captivating because you're like, you know that he's not going to kill him, but you're like, maybe he will. Like, there's a hint of maybe he will, and it's just like these friends, like, I mean, what? At the end of Age of Ultron, okay, what were Cap, Tony, and Thor doing? They were joking around about the hammer, right? Put the hammer in an elevator. Elevator goes up. It's not worthy. They're joking around. They're friends. And then you see them not too much longer after this fighting because of a disagreement. And you see the thing on both sides. So it's the amount of emotion. It's why also Infinity War is so good. It's because the emotion of the characters that you've been following for so long, and all the build up to this point, and just the attention to detail that is in these movies that they just it's a great plot with a lot of emotion. And yes, I think the first Avenger is a great movie, but I feel like its plot is a little more simple.
Simple isn't bad.
Simple isn't bad. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so okay, here's the thing. If you want to rate these movies like out of 10, it'd be like saying, you know, uh, okay, if I'm gonna say Winter Soldier or Captain America, the Civil War can be the number one movie in Marvel, as close to a 10 out of 10 as you can get, then let's say like they're both 9.8 or 9.8, 9.7, and following right close up below it is like Captain America, the first Avenger, at like a 9.5.
Okay, I will say our top 10 to me are all like 8s or 9s out of 10.
Yeah.
They're all
Yeah.
amazing movies. And
So you can't say the first Avenger's a bad movie.
No, nobody's
because it's not a bad movie.
I'm just saying Civil War is a bad movie.
We're just saying. Actually, you did.
No, I didn't.
We're just saying.
I said it's a great movie, but it's the weakest of the three.
We're just saying that we would put on a tiny little scale over here, while all of them still being better than most of the other movies in the MCU, that Winter Soldier and Civil War are just a tiny bit better than the first Avenger.
One thing I did notice, which they're Marvel movies, so they can only be so not action based, but you guys tended to rate the ones with more action higher than I did, and I tended to rank more like plot and emotional movies higher.
Because she's a woman.
Because
she's in touch with her feelings.
And you're not.
Did I just get us canceled? I don't care. You can't cancel us.
I can't cancel you when you're not successful.
Exactly. See, that's how you don't get canceled. Never be successful. Stay in school, kids. Don't ever drop out.
Or drop out so you won't be successful.
No,
It's
because
not
see, they're not
no.
gonna be successful. They're not gonna be successful doing anything other than just staying in school. They need to stay in school and get a normal job. You don't want them to drop out and then the homeless population skyrockets even more than it already is.
Be
Don't
cool,
worry, David.
stay in school.
Yeah, don't worry. Homeless people can't listen to this.
That's what?
Also,
They don't have a home.
I had Civil War a little bit lower for a minute when I was making my list earlier, and then I had to pause and like think about it, and I was like, "Am I just hating on this
Yes.
because Wesley and David liked it so much?" And I was like, "A little bit." So
Yeah,
I moved
yeah.
it up a couple
To
pages.
what? 14?
Yeah, I had it at like 16.
This woman. I have to live with this woman, David. I'm living with a psychopath.
I mean, that was your choice, but
It's just not the best Marvel movie. There's
David,
so many
I mean,
good ones.
it is my choice, but I just didn't realize what I was getting myself into. This is marriage. You learn as you go, and sometimes you learn you made a mistake.
I'll cut this off right now.
Yeah, she'll cut me off right now. She'll cut me off. If I die between now and next time, or any time, you know who did
Sarah's
it.
gonna take your
Anytime.
place.
Hey, wait a minute.
I'd do better.
Yeah, okay, but can you keep up with how little David talks? He
Yeah,
just sits
probably.
there.
David and I think, would have a more even airtime.
Yeah, and then you be 1/3, he'd be 1/3, and the other third would be just dead air.
That's when we get Maggie on.
Sometimes
No,
when
Maggie would take over 100% of the podcast.
when you
I
don't
love
have
you,
anything
Maggie, if you're
intelligent
listening.
to say, it's not always best to just keep talking.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was even listening to what you just said.
Okay.
What did you just say?
Oh, nothing.
Didn't think so.
Well, okay, it's like I told Wesley earlier. See, Wesley is one of those people where like if he doesn't know you that well, you're never gonna get him to talk. But if he knows you, you're never gonna get him to shut up.
Yeah. You
David,
keep pushing me.
I just hope I've gotten the point home today. I just hope. If not, I will make sure to continue to remind you. I don't like you. At all.
That's not very nice.
No, it's not, but David's not very nice.
I thought he was your best friend.
No,
he was
that
the best
never
man
happened.
at our wedding.
I had so few options.
You just didn't have any friends.
I have no friends.
I wonder why that is, Wesley.
I don't know. I'm a delight.
Are you though? 'Cause, I mean,
Stop pushing me.
I have Joe. I have a friend. Kinda.
I'm sorry, but if Joe's the only friend that you have,
okay.
Sorry, Joe.
Hey.
But things aren't looking great.
Hey. We never talk, and he lives long way away.
Like 10 hours away.
And we're rivals in football. But I mean, so are me and David, so it doesn't really matter. We never talk because I never respond, so that's on me. But David never responds to me, so how's this
David
going?
responds to me.
David, I send him texts and he sends nothing, and I think maybe he's dead. And then I see posts on Instagram, and I'm like, nope, he's still alive. He's still posting the content.
I have never seen David post anything on the channel. I've seen it on his Instagram. I was like,
if he still has an Instagram.
When was the last time I even posted on my personal Instagram?
You posted on your Instagram before? I doubt that.
It took him like 6 months to accept my friend request.
Was it one of them?
Okay, well, there was time there where I probably went 6 months without even looking at Instagram. So
exactly.
Was it David? Did you post on there and it's like some buck or something, and you got it and you're like, "Dear Susan."
No, it's a catfish, but
exactly that.
It's a cat.
It's a
catfish. Oh, it's a catfish.
Let me see.
I thought you were about to say a cat. I thought you were about to say cat. I said David put a cat on his Instagram. Probably hated cats.
No, there's a dog. Yeah, it's a catfish.
I remember that
big
picture.
Catfish.
Yeah, and I'm wearing the Dave Danger shirt.
Well, I guess it's fitting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming it still
Pushing
fits.
me
You
and
haven't gotten
pushing
too fat.
back.
Sarah, stop.
You keep pushing me. I thought this was my show.
Nobody said it was your show.
You invited me on here just
Hey.
so I could talk, and then you talked over me like 8 times.
Yes. You've heard it. Everyone says it. Everybody and their grandmother has a podcast. Go start your own podcast if you want to do
I do not want
this.
to.
Well, then,
I'd
yeah.
rather just be the
Sarah,
star of yours.
While you have the floor, I'll let you say anything else you want about how stupid we are.
Well, now I don't know what I want to say.
I mean, I'm
don't know where you want to start.
There's a lot to say. What, are you sulking now?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Why? Because I give Sarah the
Anyway.
floor, or because she wouldn't let you talk?
No, I'm
You
giving. That's not my fault. I'm giving Sarah the floor as well. I'm being respectable.
Anyway, there's a lot of things we agree with, but Civil War is not one of them. And that's okay. We can still be friends. David, we can still be friends.
Okay.
I didn't really know if we were friends beforehand, but we can be friends now.
Oh, okay, yeah. I accept your friend request.
Finally. It's okay. Until I changed his profile picture, you wouldn't know that I existed looking at Wesley's Instagram, so.
When was the
And
last
I was
time he
married to
posted
him
on
at the
Instagram?
Like 2015.
Actually,
I didn't even have an
Oh,
Instagram in
okay.
2015.
Not related to the channel. 2015.
I did post the channel. I do every week. I do post a story.
He's posted the channel more than he's posted his wife.
Oh
I don't
my
like people knowing my
gosh,
person.
Wesley, you are so young.
I know he's a
Shut
little
up.
baby. Little baby.
I don't like people knowing my personal life, so I just keep that private.
I don't think saying, "Hey, I'm married," is that personal.
Okay,
You wear a wedding ring.
yeah, but here's the thing.
You don't want the people on the street to know that you're married. You better take it off.
Here's the thing. First of all, I don't even understand this. Half the people that follow me, like from school and all, follow you.
Uh-huh.
I don't know
Because
why.
they want to know what's going on
They
with
went
you.
out of their way to follow this random girl, and now they keep up with me because of her.
I don't even post that often.
And these are people that I don't even remember really talking too much in high school. So I'm like, I don't really know why they care. But
They
anyway,
probably just send out requests to everyone who shows up and
Well,
they're recommended.
That's
Wow.
kind of the point of
That's
social
fair.
media, is to pretend like you have more friends than you do.
I have no friends on social media or in real life.
That's not true.
You're right. I have Joe. I stand by that.
Joe does follow you on Instagram.
Shout out to
Did you follow
Joe.
me?
I have no idea. Does he post?
I don't think so.
Then
I
it
don't think
won't
he's
matter.
posted anything since 2015 either.
I think I did follow him.
Well,
The last time Joe posted on Instagram, he was skitty.
well, I just saw
Sorry.
what Wesley's
Love you, Joe.
last post not related to the channel was actually 2019.
Oh, what was
Oh, it was that Mother's Day one, right? Or is
Yeah.
it Father's Day?
Or
Yeah.
Easter or something. I don't know.
One of those.
I have one for I have a post on there.
But he's got a post for his sisters, one for each, and he's got one for his mom, and he's got one for his dad. But guess who doesn't have one?
David. David doesn't have one.
No, David doesn't
I
have
don't
one
need
either.
one.
David doesn't. No, but see, David, you need one.
I
Yeah,
swear to
first
God,
off,
if you
first-
post David and you don't post me.
David, how long have we been recording?
We just rolled over 2 hours.
Okay.
Rolling.
I don't know what else. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at your Instagram.
Okay. How much more do we have to say? Do we want to keep rambling on for listeners to listen? I mean, Taylor's already left as of like at least 20
She's
minutes
probably
ago.
halfway through Winter Soldier.
Because we
She's probably
told her to
halfway
leave. Yeah.
Well, I know. I'm saying that's like one of our 3 viewers. So
Mm-hmm.
Use the hashtag Barbie.
did I?
You did.
What?
I think you're using it in relation to barbecue, not like the Barbie.
Wait, let me look at that.
Sparkle Sparkle, hashtag Barbie.
Oh no, I know what that was for. No, so that's Sparkle Sparkle is from one of the Barbie movies.
Okay. I thought you were doing it.
Which one is it? It's the what are they called? The winged animal? Pegasus. The Pegasus Barbie.
What a Pegasus was?
And the bear in the movie has a little thing and she goes, Sparkle Sparkle.
Okay.
So that's
Also,
what I did it for.
how did you expect anyone to get Pegasus from just winged animal? Do you know how many winged animals there are?
You know that winged animal?
I didn't say horse.
No, you said winged animal.
I heard you say pea, and I was like, a pixie? And I was
Okay.
like, that's not really an animal.
First off, I was doing my own thinking through it, so I figured it out.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, I saw some smoke coming out your
Dangerous.
ears, Wesley.
David, you're one to talk.
There's no smoke. There'd have to be gears in there for there to be smoke. It's just empty.
I'm real glad I got in my insulting to David earlier because now this is just gonna happen.
You know, usually I'm mean to David, but I feel like I have to be nice to him and mean to you because
Why?
you're so mean to him today.
David's awful.
It's not that
Look at
bad.
him.
We're friends now.
No, David doesn't have friends because he sucks.
We're gonna kick you out, and I'll be David's friend.
No. I'm the only personality this show has. That's sad, but it's true.
Uh-huh.
Okay, fine. David sits there. He has a beard. Other than that,
Your only personality is being pig-headed.
exactly. David just has a beard. A great one, but it just has a beard.
It's okay.
No, it's great. He trimmed it. Look at that thing. Think about how weird he'd look if he didn't have it.
I've never seen David's chin in person.
It's awful.
I've seen pictures of it.
You know,
Not, like,
technically,
only if the chin
I've
has
never
it.
seen it in person either. But technically, I've never seen my face in person. So
I think a mirror counts as in person, David.
Does it though?
no, a mirror is reflected light, and it's actually a mirrored image. So doesn't
He's
count.
only seeing the other side
Yeah,
of
but
his chin.
it's like live is not the right word, but like yeah.
Would you consider
Let
a
us
mirror
know.
to be live?
Let
It's
us
not a
know.
recorded image.
Let us know if you consider a mirror to be in person.
Or would it just be live content?
Like you could see your chin if you tried hard enough.
Oh, my nose is in the way.
Well, I can see the hair right now, but
I was
can't
hoping both of you would try that, and it worked.
I see my nose.
I see
Everybody
my lips.
can see their nose.
Mm. I see my lips. Comment down below if you can see your chin.
And a mirror doesn't count.
See your chin.
And a mirror doesn't count.
I'm looking at your chin right now.
Your chin.
I'm
I don't know,
looking at your chin.
I don't know. Do you think Dr. Doofenshmirtz could see his chin? Because his chin does kind of stick out a little bit. I know his nose sticks out
His
a lot
nose
more,
does too.
but
Yeah,
his chin kind of
yeah.
sticks out. So
I feel like his nose would get in the way.
Well, yeah, but you could just pull the nose down and you see the chin. Cause...
I don't think you can move that.
No, but they both kind of come out.
It's immovable.
What's that off to the side? Phineas will never see his chin. Not even in the mirror.
he doesn't even have a chin. It's just all nose.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. Phineas makes me feel good about my nose.
Ferb too, honestly.
Yes.
On that note, shall we move on?
David, shall we move on?
What are we
I'm
moving on to?
I don't know.
To leaving
Oh, she
Oh,
wants to
leaving.
leave.
and going to eat dinner.
Oh, you
I
mean
made
moving?
spaghetti, you
You
want
mean
some?
moving on to an outro?
Yeah, you want to come over for spaghetti?
I had spaghetti last
I told
night,
you I was
but
making spaghetti.
I
I made
can
garlic bread.
I can be there in 2.5 hours.
You were here last night?
It might be cold then, but
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and head on to an outro. There were way too many syllables in that for what I wanted to say, but whatever. Well, explorers, that's about all the time we have for today.
I hope you enjoyed this this week's episode.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode.
Let us know what you thought in the comments down below, or you can DM us on Instagram down there, YT.
Be sure to join us.
And be sure to join us next time. David's gone.
Yeah, my
Bye,
camera
David.
disappeared. I don't know
On
why.
the Trailcast. Yay.
The most dysfunctional show on the internet.
That's quite the claim.
Well, my camera lasted over 2 hours, so
What'd you do? Did you eat it?
I don't know.
Nah, it busted. Hey, you can only expect it to last so long.
There we go. I'm back, but
On the Trailcast. Yay.